You're tuned to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. And today, guys, I got Setema, one of the best Super Bowl champion, one of the guys that inspires inspirers, that leads leaders. Thanks, Setema. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you talking about real life stuff.
Grateful to be here, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, we were talking off air. Sometimes the content versus the intent gets a lot of controversy, right? Or sometimes it's the intent, not the content, that gets a lot of controversy. But what do you think? What do you think it is in people right now that negativity loves to breed more negativity versus the opposite? I mean, it's always good versus evil, generally speaking. But right now, when you're facing these unknowns or this doubt, it's almost like it's just an easier subject for a lot of people, the masses, that crab pot mentality, to go into a situation where, the sky's falling, Chicken Little. And why do you think that is? And what do we do for those of us to want to try to see the optimistic side or the positive side?
Well, part of it is, I'd say, is people just don't know. They're so trained, taught, and educated, right? They've just been ingrained in this way of negativity, or on the dark side, the sad side, the scarcity side. They just don't know. They really don't know what they don't know. And so when they see someone who's optimistic, realistic, or positive, or they have this great outlook on life, they think that they are crazy because they just don't know. The other reason I would say is, people, it's easy to get caught up in that kind of energy. It just is, right? If I'm not careful, I have a number of text threads and Facebook groups, and it's easy when they're like, well, did you see the restaurant? Did you see Trump? And it's just this, sometimes it's almost exciting to be caught up in the pandemonium and the panic. And, I would share with people, just go back and ask the question, what do I really want for my life? We say principle 4, clarity is power. And if a human being, we just get real, absolutely real. What do I want? Most people, they want to be happy, and they want to feel optimistic, and they actually want to have a life where they're focused on the future, and they're focused on who they're becoming and the impact they're going to leave, and that they can focus on the schools they want their children to go to, and the home they want their children to grow up in, and the way they want to raise grandchildren, the vacations. And when you get into that space, that becomes really addictive. It's just awesome. And it takes a little bit of time, because if you're not used to this, what I'll call it, this happy space or this optimistic or a world of possibilities, then it just seems like you're kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And, I would invite people to just step back and just ask those questions. What do I really want? How do I want to feel every day? Well, what do I want to feel on a daily basis in this daily life experience? Do I want to feel scared and afraid and panicked? And for some people, that is their way of living, and it doesn't have to be that way at all. And I can say that from having helped hundreds and maybe well into the thousands of clients and people that we've trained have a complete shift, a real shift of perspective and of happiness, of feeling the day, and really sincere gratitude. It's just a different way to live, Russ. It's so different, and it's so fun.
Yeah, the abundance versus scarcity mindset in general, I found, always a better bet. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, then the way I look at it is I guess we're going to end up in that same negative space anyway if I'm wrong. But regardless of what happens, regardless of bad things happening to good people, which is undeniable, that happens every single day. Bad things happen to good people. And so as we look and reflect on not just the coronavirus, not just the panic that sometimes sets in these times of the unknown, but if we look to the reality is, you said it earlier, things will keep moving forward. There will still be this kinetic energy of people breathing oxygen, people exhaling. There's going to be some people sick. There's going to be some people die. There's going to be some bad things that happen. But the world's going to keep spinning. And you can decide to, I think you said it, invest in yourself or reinvest in yourself during this time where you're forced into a place where you don't get to socialize communally out in the open. You don't get to go to your churches. You don't get to go to your community events or your clubs where you would normally, in times of panic or in times of strange unknowns like a pandemic, you would go right there and have that leadership around you, and you would draw from that. So it is a little unique, and it is harder when you're not used to that concept of being a positive mindset, an abundant thinker, and a solution-based person, but also get used to doing things like get on the phone. If you're still old school, there's nothing wrong with that. Pick up the phone, pick up the rotary dial phone if there is such a thing, and call some friends. I'm dating myself, man. I'm 51. I was 51 on St. Patrick's Day, and I feel like we both went through that adversity of the 2008s. Back in the day, the stock market went down to what 4,400 or something at one point, cut in half. It was like different reasons, different things, different threats. But here we are in the same concept, right? I mean, we're gonna get out of this, and those that push the gas pedal down and don't contract but expand. What do you think is historically significant about that concept?
Well, what's significant about it is every decade, every 10 years or so, give or take, like this, something happens, an outbreak, a financial crunch, a bubble gets burst, and there's always the people who get paralyzed and stop and contract and they shrink and they pull back, they hold back, they hesitate. That's going to be normal. And as a coach for entrepreneurs, coach for business owners and executives, my language and our language is always take this time to expand. Don't contract, because there's going to be so many, I'll say it right, there's going to be new millionaires and 100 millionaires and billionaires that get created from this time, because instead of closing their eyes, instead of putting their head in the sand, instead of contracting and they stopped growing. Real leaders, they're going to take advantage of the inefficiencies right now. They're going to find a way to solve problems. They're going to find a way to serve people. They're going to find a way to impact. I think about the morgues and the morticians. That people are going to continue to graduate from this life. Those guys don't stop working, right? They're going to the thing with our economy today is we make money off of solving problems, and some people would call it misfortunes, and I'd say call it what you want, but dollars follow value, and people pay for value. And so you're either going to really double down on yourself and double down on your business and invest and continue to put your money in places where it can return. And, people will invest in the stock market, real estate. I said the greatest investment is in yourself, right between your ears, the way you think and your mindset, developing new skill sets or deepening skill sets and becoming extraordinary and committed to excellence. And so this time is going to be a great time. Like I've been, all of our clients, the people in our masterminds, the people that are follow my podcast, and your show. This is the time. Like we're going to look back and say, remember when we doubled down instead of slowing down. Remember when we took advantage. Remember when we invested, and remember when we kept our money moving. And remember when we did not worship panic and worship fear, but we moved our lives forward. A lot of people will look back and say, this was the time where what a blessing, like what a great time it was for us.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about just educating yourself. I'm a real estate guy. I've been a real estate guy since 1989 while I was in college. And, I've had ups and downs, got hammered, went to BK, I said it, I just collapsed. I was renting. I couldn't get both office and a house. So I had an office, slept on the couch for a couple of years. And the irony of that adversity, when my son, who's now a Marine in the U.S. Marine Corps down in California, what's funny when we reflect on some of the times in high school, he was going through that as a young guy with me, as a young teenager in the recession. And he looks back and he says, Dad, the best times we had is when, we were sleeping on the couch in your office, and it wasn't the times we had the big mansion on the hill and all that, and drove the fast cars. And none of that mattered, man. Now I drive in like a car I bought for $4,000. I mean, I'm on the opposite direction. I'm so phobia driven of debt from the recession that I just also look at it like, hey, if I can drive a $4,000 Toyota Matrix, and one of my agents says, hey, I need a new car to sell real estate, or I need a new wardrobe to be able to go on a listing appointment, and I'm wearing jeans and a an Adidas shirt or something. It's just me. And I think for people, just be yourself. And if it's art, you want to look into art, look into art. You have time. If you want to be a real estate broker, look into a real estate school. It takes 90 hours in Washington State. All of a sudden, there's a way to invest in yourself. You want that secondary income? Go get it. Because there's going to be a lot of people eating bonbons on the couch, watching Scooby-Doo. Another dated reference.
Amen, man. That's spot on. Spot on.
Yeah, and it's not a judgment thing. I mean, we're all going to have fear. We're all going to have panic. We're all going to have doubt at various times. And that's when you got to, your email was so profound, very simply put, you said believe in each other. Take a chance on each other, and spend more time focused on those positive people that you're believing in than those negative people that you're believing in. Because, again, it's a better bet, right?
It really is. And I'll tell you what, the people who choose to take that leap of faith on themselves, invest in their skills, invest in their people, continue to move business forward, they'll be so grateful they did, because this thing does blow over, and it will. You'll be so much farther ahead, right? You'll just have taken advantage of the time to really reconnect with your children and your spouse and reconnect with loved ones, and you develop new skills, and you deepen your current skills and self-mastery. And that's what this time is about. It's about expanding. And you said, right, don't contract, but expand. And so for those of you who are listening who really decide to take that route, I acknowledge you, because it will pay dividends for a long time.
Hey, Setema, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about where I saw you and what you do, because I believe firmly you can help leaders be better leaders. If you don't mind, you can stick around. We can talk a little bit about what you generally do for the people you work with.
You got it.
I'll be back in just a couple seconds with Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends.
Home Sweet Home. Thanks, Keller Williams. I love my dream home.